Today I'm going to talk a little bit about video games in dreams and how dreams set in video game worlds can be truly special and interesting. Before I do that though, I just want to remind you guys that this video is sponsored by you guys. So if you'd like to level up your lucid dreaming experience, or if you'd like to support what I do here in these videos, then check out the Lucid Dream book, link in the top right hand corner or down in the description below. If you've ever played a little bit too much of a particular video game, you might have found yourself experiencing a touch of the Tetris effect. The effect where you start thinking about and seeing aspects of the game everywhere, like playing a little too much Minecraft and then you start looking at the world around you and seeing it divided up into blocks. Or the namesake itself, playing a little too much Tetris and then seeing Tetris blocks falling everywhere in your mind's eye. But did you know you might have experienced the Tetris effect in another way? What might also happen is you might start having dreams about that video game. Now, typically these dreams tend to be nothing special, it's just you playing one of your favourite video games. And other than the dream version of that game not behaving quite as the real one would, it's nothing out of the ordinary. But where these dreams can become something else entirely is when you become lucid in them. I mean, think about it. The moment that you become lucid, you become fully immersed in the world around you. So what happens when rather than plaster walls and carpeted floors, you find yourself in a world of polygons instead? Well, you guessed it, things get weird. Surfaces might have unusual textures when you touch them, or they might have none at all. The normal rules of the world might be distorted or even entirely replaced by the rules of the game world that you're in. You might find that your perspective is shifted, maybe you see the world around you in 2D, or maybe you see yourself in third person from like a trailing camera view, or from like a top-down or an isometric viewpoint. On top of that, dream control suddenly actually becomes kind of different to how it usually works. The rules change. Spawning a real-world car is, for example, a lot harder if you're in a 2D Mario level than it is in, dreams set in the real world. But on the flip side, if you're in a world that looks like Skyrim, it is a lot easier to shoot fireballs out of your hands than it is when you're in a dream set in the real world, because your expectations are different. The world around you shapes your expectations about the ways that you can interact with it. And this means that every time you find yourself immersed in a new and different video game world, certain things become naturally easier and harder to do. Now obviously you can alter your beliefs and you can expect things to work differently, but it doesn't change the fact that you're automatically going to have some particular subconscious expectations based on the environment that you're in. So you can use this to your advantage. You can choose to place yourself in a world that's suitable to the fantasy or goals that you want to play out in your dream. Remember though, your expectations set the expectations for how your dream world should behave. So when you enter these worlds, I suggest always thinking of it like you've got the console window open, you just enabled God mode, you've got access to all the cheats, you can spawn unlimited items, whatever you want to do. Make the world play by your rules rather than just playing by the rules it gives you. Remember, this is a lucid dream after all. Now I still remember the first time that I had a video game set in a world that looked like Skyrim, and it was so weird being in this world where I was lucid and I could touch the textures around me, but they were like 3D models. It wasn't like things that I was seeing in the real world. It was like I was surrounded by 3D models in this 3D world, and it felt very, very strange because I think that was the first time that I got lucid inside a video game world. I'd had plenty of video game dreams before, but I'd never been lucid inside them and felt myself immersed in that way. I've never experienced VR, but I imagine the first experience of VR, where you're immersed inside that virtual 3D world, feels very, very similar, except this had an extra level to it because I could now touch this video game world that I was in. And I've got to say there is something very, very strange and unusual to my brain about touching a 3D model. It just doesn't compute to my brain. It is a very, very weird experience, and you have to experience it for yourself to know exactly what I mean by that. But honestly, everything is kind of weird about one of these dreams because the lighting is off and strange, textures look unusual, everything just feels a little bit off, but I find it oddly comforting in a weird way. It's kind of cozy being in one of these worlds because these are these worlds that you've experienced thousands of times before over the years, but you've never got to see in person, to actually touch, to actually immerse yourself in. And now here you are, you're inside this little world, and you know it's a world inside your own head. Obviously, you know that with all of your lucid dreams, but I find that feeling is ever more prevalent in those video game world dreams. Because there is never that nagging feeling of like, I am sure I'm in a lucid dream, right? And I'm not like running around the streets doing weird things in the waking world, am I? Sometimes when you have lucid dreams set in the real world, you have that feeling like you're certain that you're in a dream, but you're like 1% unsure, and it kind of bothers you a little bit. But you never get that when you're in a video game world in a lucid dream. You know for certain you're in this world in your own head, and it feels cozy and secure, and I love that feeling. I found that these video game worlds are especially useful to enter when I want to see things from a different perspective. It's quite hard for me to leave the first person perspective when I'm in a real world setting in a dream. It's not very easy for me to then move and shift and, see from above my body. I don't find that very easy personally. Maybe someone else will disagree and find that easier, but for me that is quite difficult if the world around me is the real world. On the other hand, if I find myself set in, say, a Mario level or Skyrim or whatever, it is very, very easy for me to just shift to a third-person perspective or to a top-down perspective. I can just imagine myself pressing a button and all of a sudden my view shifts. So if you've ever wanted to experience a dream in third person and you haven't been able to do it, go to a video game world in one of your dreams and you might find it a lot easier. Now, all of this video is kind of a really roundabout way to ask you guys for your experiences, because I'm really curious to hear what you guys have experienced in video game worlds in your dreams. I feel like it's something that is way underrated and under talked about. I feel like it would be one of the things that like every lucid dreamer would mention very quickly once they've experienced it, because it is so surreal, it is so strange, but I don't hear many people talking about it. So I wanted to ask you guys, what dreams have you had set in video games? And this doesn't have to be lucid dreams. Lucid dreams are the more interesting set of this because you feel so much more immersed and it can get really strange. But I'd love to hear about your regular dreams set in video game worlds as well. What funny things have you experienced? I remember when I was a kid, I used to have these dreams. I played a lot of RuneScape over the years, and I would have these dreams where like I was in RuneScape and I would find some like rare item that I'd been wanting for years and would like pick it up off the floor, and I would get so excited, and then I would wake up and realize that it was just a dream and I never in fact found that item. I used to have tons of dreams about games like that. Obviously the lucid ones that I've had more recently have been a lot more satisfying than that, because I know the entire time that I'm in a dream, so I don't have that annoying feeling when I wake up of like, oh damn, that wasn't actually real. But what about you guys? Share some of your video game dream stories down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and enable all notifications so you can stay up to date when my new videos come out. And if you want to keep watching, check out one of the videos on screen. Go watch that, and I'll see you there soon. Take care and have some awesome lucid dreams.